4:15. Yes, it is. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the St. Joseph's County Public Library Board meeting, Monday, October 28th, 2024. At the call will be in order, and we'll call the roll for the quarter. Alan,
Here, and I've got the
get
packet.
the packet. Very good. Christine,
Here, and I have my materials.
Ann,
Here, and I have my materials.
Terry,
Here and yes.
Nicole is online.
I'm here and I have my materials.
Good. And Ruth is at the polling place. Yay, Ruth. So, all right. I will entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Have you have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the consent agenda. I have to do this.
I will.
I will, okay. So okay, so I'll start with Terry,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes.
Christine,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
and Nicole.
Aye.
Approve the consent agenda. The Director's report. Stephanie, give us some good news.
So the good news, obviously, is that we received unanimous approval of our bonds from the county council. So thank you to the members of that council. And those bonds will fund improvements at Western and LaSalle. We do expect a closing date of December 12th. Jeanette and I will meet with the S&P next 2 weeks from now. And we're working through the due diligence period on our property acquisition. They're just looking at costs. We suspect a little bit of asbestos and lead, which is not unusual. Lead paint, not lead, but lead paint, which is pretty typical for building at that age. And then we've done a lot of preparation for the closing of Center Branch, and we are reassigning employees during that project. And we plan to sell the furniture from that building as well. The install of the new book sorter and HVAC at Francis went off pretty much without a hitch, which is exciting for everybody when you're doing that kind of a project. So that was cool. When I wrote this, we were preparing for the election season to start and the early voting at Center. The first 2 days there, they had almost 1,500 people vote at Center Branch. So it's kind of neat to be part of that process. So I was out there last Thursday morning and there was a line waiting for them to open the polls. So it's been busy.
What's the country?
Ruth Warren is working there, and so she's not here, but we were there last week and she's working.
I voted here too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think too.
We all saw you there.
That's why. It's very convenient. It's easier than parking downtown. Yes. Mhm.
When we pulled in, it was like, is the library always this full at 11 in the morning? It was packed. We had to wait for somebody to leave to park.
Oh, wow.
It was
The
great.
line was way out the door.
Uh-huh, and people chatted, we all felt so proud.
And being,
So are we doing anything to try to let people know, like if you're not signed up for a library card or you want to come in or anything, or would that be something I know we've still got a week left of folks voting out there. Would it make any sense to try to?
we're planning to do something both here and there on election day.
Okay.
Brittany Bailey, the morning host at B100, visited the library last month with her children, the main library, hung out in Tiny Town. Commented on our exceptional customer service. Heidi, the youth services manager right there. But as a result, she asked if our communications manager, Daniel Lipke, could appear regularly on her morning show. So his first appearance was last week.
Mhm.
And he did a really great job representing the library, so he'll be on there regularly. And The plan as of right now is that he will be on WSBT tomorrow morning talking about Explore a Story, which is also on Saturday.
Okay.
WSBT, I thought they just did sports now, but
This is.
It's on their, what is their morning show called?
It's the home.
Living.
oh,
Yeah.
on TV, on
Yes.
TV, I was thinking.
Oh,
radio.
yeah, no, television.
Yeah, I
Hometown
could watch
Living.
that this year.
Yeah. Western celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month with an event that had over 100 people in attendance. River Park celebrated their relationship with a fire station next door. They also had over 100 in attendance. I was at both of those. Those were fun. River Park is literally across the street from the fire station there. And so the kids would do some fun things at the library and then they'd go across the street and visit the fire trucks. And when I was there, they had this little kid help, the firefighter was helping him with the hose and they were spraying the hose. So that was a lot of fun.
He's gonna love.
Oh,
firefighter.
On September 26th, we closed for Staff Development Day. Juan Constantino was our keynote speaker. They just are working with more and more new Americans all of the time, and not just from Spanish-speaking countries. He reminded us the best way to welcome them is to see the person, which is something we talk about all the time here, is seeing the individual people who walk in our doors. Lots of breakout sessions that staff could choose from, including information on native plants. And with that being what we're committing to planting in all of our projects, it's good for staff to have information about that. They had sessions on readers advisory, basic sign language. Youth Services Bureau was here to talk about their Safe Place program, and all of our branches are safe places. And somebody was here to talk about serving patrons with autism. And all of the sessions this year were based on our core values of trust, respect, equity and inclusion, collaboration, sustainability and optimism. And I gotta give some props to the team that organizes that. They came up with that idea on their own and without me or Kara asking them to do that. So to me, that's a sign that they're internalizing those core values that we have. And then every year on this day, we give out our Years of Service Awards, with the longest running award this year, 35 years for Joni Patterson. So that's quite an accomplishment. It's a long, couple of years.
The great staff.
And I will say the other comment we got from another staff member was how encouraging it was to hear, because Kara will stand up there and read all the different positions they've had in the library. And how many people said, I started as a page, or I started as a library assistant, and then they could see how those people moved their way up in the organization. So that's fun to see too, and that staff take notice of that as well, that we do like to hire internally and promote people. We're doing a great job.
It inspired somebody just this month. She said, I saw that, and I knew I could do it too. So I applied for a position higher because I didn't. Look, they all started where I started, so that was really cool.
That is good.
Any questions for Stephanie? I will add to her report that the Dia de los Muertos concert is this weekend, and there's an ofrenda in the library, courtesy of us. So there's
What?
an ofrenda, that's the altar, but they, so it's down in the main, it's up on the main desk.
It would be done by
Yeah.
the
It
desk.
is, right under the stairs.
So,
Yeah,
yes,
so funny, I just checked out a book there.
We saw four of them. And the library went to zoo, Museum of Art this morning. And the last one will be installed at Morris on Wednesday, and the concert is Saturday at 3 o'clock at the Morris, free of charge.
And for those of you who didn't see Marvin on TV, for the thing of De Los Muertos,
Oh.
yes, our town on WNIT.
Must have had B-roll of you.
I just taped it this morning.
Well, then it's an old one, but because I watched it at 8 o'clock last Thursday.
Okay.
And
Yes.
a woman sang and bands played and you spoke and
That was from last year. Okay.
I watched the used one then.
It was a great show last year. It was a lot of fun.
Saturday at 3. Tonight at Perfect. WNIT did a replay of the documentary that we did 3 years ago.
Well, maybe that's what I saw.
Yeah, oh, top, yeah. I got a note from you about that, yeah.
He does too much. He
I
can't keep
can't
track.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So do I have a motion to accept Stephanie's reports? Have a second, okay. So moved and properly second to accept the director's report. I will call the roll. I'll start with Nicole. I got it.
Aye.
Alan,
Me too.
Ann, Terry. Aye. And,
Christine.
who's Christine? My mind's going to that.
Aye.
Christine, and I vote aye. All right, patron engagement.
So in our report this month, you'll see, the social media post is from our Entrepreneur Hour. That is a really great program that we do, interviewing and talking to entrepreneurs. We don't get a lot of in-person attendance at those, so they're making it into a podcast, which is, what you see here. So those podcasts will be coming out. See Storytime at St. Pat's Park. And then we were also at Fusion Fest, which was hot. It was
a hot day.
so hot. So kudos to the staff who hung out there. They did a couple story times while they were there. Top checkouts are interesting and clearly related to the election, not for the kids, but number one searching book for teen was Kamala Harris's book, The Truths We Hold. And for adult, it was Hillbilly Elegy. It's on the first page of the monthly data report. Just interesting to see how those nonfiction books really do follow the news. Our number of visitors is up. Always, I think it surprises people how often people do just continue to use our internet, whether that's through Wi-Fi or our computers. Circulation, steady. Active card holders up from this time last year, not a lot, but we're inching up there. And then there's one, oh, the number of in-house programs we're doing, you can see there's quite a few more than we did last year across the board. And again, those consistently are, I mean, we hit those early literacy kids really hard. We know that's such an important time to catch kids and get them started reading. But they're just, I mean, they just steadily and continuously do interesting programs with good attendance. So that's that.
So,
Yeah. Alan?
so it looked like when you took a look at, the gate count as well as the one of the internet things by branch, that there was a noticeable, at least the way this looks like, there was a fairly significant decline at Francis Branch. And I was wondering,
Oh,
is that a glitch with maybe
Yes.
their machine or something?
no, and I meant to point that out. That is, we had to do short days when our HVAC was not
Oh,
working.
the Francis is
before
the
we-
one where the HVAC
Yeah,
was.
Exactly, so
Okay.
the short days are what, their circulation was down, and they're one of our highest circulating
Sure.
branches. But their door count, their circulation, and their computer use was down across the board. Because we did that for about 2 weeks, and they are second to Maine in all of those things, so
Sure.
that,
Well, so
That
is Center
shows.
gonna be through the roof next month? Are they actually coming through the gate to get to the road?
yeah, yes. That should all be on the door counter, and then after that,
They'll
see
drive
later in
through the floor.
drive through the floor.
just thinking about the center, standing in line, there was a woman that was doing the security. And she was standing there looking at a book. I said, oh, what are you reading? And she told me, and she was all enthusiastic. I thought, wow, that's just so great.
Mhm. Yeah, it's great, it's a great reason for people to come to the library who haven't been in a while.
Yeah, and yeah,
And that security has been provided and will be provided here by the county for the
okay.
polls.
Okay, Anjanette,
All right.
how much money can we spend?
Well, that's a different conversation. I wanna go back to one thing, in the bill list, just as an overarching, comment. There's, at times on the bill list, you will see, names come through for our corporate card, and potentially payroll. That will show, like one person's name, so it happened to be the corporate card, happened to say Anjanette's travel expenses. I have been here every day and I have not taken a large vacation. But what it is it's all of the transactions for one person. Sometimes it shows up as Stephanie for payroll. And so I just wanted you to be aware that sometimes when that corporate card comes through, because there are tons of transactions, we're running a lot through our purchase card, which actually I feel like has done very well. We've used the purchase card for about a year. When everyone goes on trips or they go to conferences, they use, the purchase card. And they get a temporary card, which they sign out, and then they give back. And so it just happened that this month, my name was the person. So I have not gone on a trip.
It says
So
that.
the public knows that I have not gone on a large trip. But sometimes that happens. I just wanted the board to be aware of that.
And those cards are nice because we can limit to hotel and restaurant purchases only.
Yep.
So our internal controls on those cards are really solid. And then you'll see fewer reimbursements because people won't have to put their own money on there first.
That's really good.
And we do very few reimbursements anymore.
I do
So
that.
every once in a while, but very few.
Correct.
Yeah.
Good.
And then, if there are any questions on the fund report, or the appropriation, always open to those questions. And just kind of some summaries. The property at 1032 Fox, as I mentioned at the last board meeting, it did not go through. The property is no longer on the market, however, it was not sold. It's just no longer on the market. And so the seller never finalized, the sale with us. She just took
Is
it
she
off
waiting
the
for a
market.
higher price?
Did she what?
Is she waiting for a higher price?
I guess. I don't know why, but it is no longer, it's no longer on the market.
Okay.
So we'll just, wait it out and see if it comes back on the market, and if we want it at that time, we'll pursue again. We have sent earnest money over to Meridian Title for the 323 Sheridan Street property, which is, where we plan on putting Western. As, Stephanie said, we are in our 90 days due diligence. And the appraisals have been done for, the Western branch, and if you remember, we did need a second appraisal for the Sheridan property. Those are done, we're just waiting for the final reports. We've been through a year of, having the solar panels at Tut. And just looking at it, through a full year, we've had about a 24.02% reduction of our bills, which is about an average of 311 per month, 312 per month. Total saved in the 12 months is 3,592, 22, and that equals about 2 to 3 months of a bill, right? So, not too bad, not too bad.
So, are there plans to install more solar panels in the new branch?
We're talking about it.
Okay.
So important. Indiana Trust did, as I mentioned, and I've been mentioning for the last few months, they did drop their rates about, 0.5%. So, our yield right now is 4.98%, but again, that's still a great rate. We are working, with the county to actually move all of our, property deposits or our tax deposits directly to Trust Indiana. So even if we need just those few days before we have to do any transfers, we get that little bit of additional money as we do. We're just waiting on their process for that to happen. So.
We just like a little bit of daily accrued interest.
Every penny helps and you get more than a penny. So if unless there are any other questions.
I have one.
Yes.
You were referring to the solar panel
Mhm.
savings. And do you have a projection then of the payback period for that?
You know what? I was gonna look for that and Joe actually did do a payback period for me and I'll have that for the next meeting. But, yeah.
Well, and you'll recall, half of that install prices with the grant was paid for by a grant from the city.
Right.
But even
the
so,
next time,
yes.
if it's not, and we have to make a decision,
Mhm.
because we
Right.
know what we're dealing with.
Right, yeah.
So I will have that for taking a note. I will have that for you next
Thank you.
meeting.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the director's, the patron engagement report and the financial report.
So moved.
Second,
So move to second that we accept the patrons engagement report, financial report. I will call the roll. Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Nicole,
Aye.
yeah, unfinished business. Where are we? But we have work to do, so. New business. All right, Karen, give it to us.
All right, so it's that time again for creeping up on open enrollment. Patrick Carpino from Gibson is here. You'll see he has the executive summary in your packets. And he can go over those with you.
Good afternoon, is this okay about the stand?
Yep.
All right, awesome.
Thank you.
So I can run through the executive summary, or if you've had a chance to review and have specific questions.
Can you go through it? That'd be
Yeah.
great. I did go through it, but it'd be great to hear you explain what it is that I read.
Yeah, absolutely, happy to.
But I did read it, yes.
Yeah, so every year we go through the renewal cycle, we evaluate current plan utilization, potential opportunities to not only enhance benefits or network access, but then also try to drive down and control the spend. As we're all aware, healthcare costs continues to rise at a pretty significant clip. And it's a fine balance of not just cutting costs, but providing great benefits, access, et cetera, in tandem with that. So the initial budget projection was just shy of 13%, or 230,000, 229,000 if we round. With the proposed changes that I'll outline here, we're looking at a projected increase of about 8.7%, or 155,000 annual increase, of which will be distributed amongst both library and staff. So when we look at the various components of your employee benefits program, stop loss is the only layer of insurance that the library purchases. So the library pays, employees pay their deductibles, cost share, et cetera, and then the library covers the next amount up to a certain threshold, and then insurance kicks in. So that's what stop loss is for. We went to 14 markets. Stop loss market's a very hard market, meaning a lot of catastrophic claims. So we're seeing the frequency and severity of those similar to we all see in the news, the catastrophic property events, hurricanes, tornadoes, et cetera. And so it's causing costs to go up. So knowing that we hit 14 different markets, and we're ultimately able to land with the incumbent carrier Virtue at a 7.1% increase. Market averaging for well-running groups is about 15%. So all in all, felt really good about that. As a reminder, we have the contract has an under laser, so the stop loss carrier can't pull out an individual and apply a separate higher limit on that individual. So it protects the library. It's something we put in place in 2024. And then in a worst case scenario, we have a rate cap as well at 50%, which seems high. It is high, or 50% is a lot, but it's just on the stop loss portion of our spend. And without that cap, it could be 100, 200%. They basically just out of the market. So we do have that protection. The recommendation on the third party administrator, so that's the organization that processes and pays the claims. The recommendation is to stay with Allied. the library's been with Ally for a lot of years. One of the things that's newer to this market segment in terms of size is Ally now has the ability to access the Anthem insurance network. So Ally will remain the processor and payer of claims. And then we'll have an Anthem logo on the ID card for the network. When we look at your plan utilization, one of the things that jumps out is you're currently with CHA, who's a local great network. What we see in the data though is that your utilization with CHA isn't as high. We have people going outside of the CHA network. And so when we go outside of the CHA network, we get less discount off of bill charges. Because it's designed to be more of a narrow network versus more of a broad. Anthem's one of the largest insurers in the country. So what this is gonna do is open up access of in-network providers and providers better discounts off of bill charges across your entire claim spec. That all high level makes sense. So the recommendation is keep Ally, move to the Anthem network. With that change and moving to Anthem, we have to move the PBM relationship.
Pharmacy benefit.
Pharmacy benefit manager, so that's the pharmacy network. And then they also manage the tiers of which drugs fall into Carelon. We see this as a lateral and hopefully a positive move, both from an access standpoint and a cost discount standpoint. Carelon's one of the largest PBMs, and so they get buying power than what we have over what we have today.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Trinity Health has a PBM also. Pharmacy part. This Trinity Health is run the hospitals in town.
So yeah, St. Joe.
Yeah, so is that something that we could look at? I don't say that because it happened for me,
Yeah.
that my prescriptions dropped drastically because Trinity has their own pharmacy.
Yeah, familiar with it, so that hospital systems can qualify for what's called 340B pricing. It's significantly reduced costs if they have an in-house pharmacy. There's some legislative pieces like, so if you're a non-member of Trinity to access their 340B pricing, there's hoops you gotta jump through, and that has to be prescribed by a Trinity doc. Who qualifies to administer the 340B. There's just a lot of nuances that make that a little more challenging for a group health plan, which not everybody may go to St. Joe as an example. That creates some disruption. That's the word I use.
Let's check it.
Okay. Great question. And then the last piece in terms of administration, it would be partnering with ISOL, who's a large national partner for the administration of a flexible spending account, both healthcare and then also dependent care flexible spending account, giving employees the opportunity to put money into an account pre-tax to pay for qualified expenses.
And that would be new firm.
Oh, this is a
That's a new benefit.
good benefit they have.
Yeah, it at least it gives you the opportunity to pay with untaxed dollars.
Yeah.
Any questions on that piece? Yeah. Alan?
Not that piece, but just in general. So when we say if we go with the proposed change, the 8.7%, 154,000, or no changes to 13% to 229, are we saying that that's the library, that's the library's portion, or that's the total portion, and a portion of that is shared by the employee?
Yeah, great question. That's the total portion for all in, and then
So
the
do we have,
library is gonna absorb it.
so do we have an estimate as to, let's assume we go with the proposed changes of the 154,000, how much of that actually will be the library's portion versus how much will it cost us versus, I mean, obviously the employees, it's significant for employees, but what's it raise our budget? So
So,
we have a sense of it.
so that's the next plan design here. It shows you the percent of that cost for the employees between 17.5% and 18% for the employee.
Well, so I guess that's my question. So the 154,000, is that the library pays $154,000 more, or the library, or the library pays
Together.
$100,000 more and $54,000 more,
Sure, yeah.
is it? Which one is it? Is it the library's portion is $154,000? Or it's the
Combined.
Combined, so do we know how much of the, do we know what the breakdown is? In other words, how much will actually impact our budget? Does that make sense?
So,
I can get that for you.
I mean, approximately,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be to the penny.
and honestly, Alan, for us, the healthcare spend here is not as significant to our budget as the claims that we pay. Because we're self-insured, this is the insurance piece of it. And so we also pay the claims, so depending on how healthy our group is, impacts our budget dollars more than this per se,
Okay,
because we're self-insured. I mean, not that this is
I mean, but
insignificant,
we do pay for. Like, when we do pay something for this stop loss insurance, we are paying a premium for all this.
yes, please jump
And
in.
we're saying that our
Kara
premium-
understands it all better.
And we're
than I
saying
do.
that our premiums are going up
Yes,
by that, whatever that percentage is,
Yep.
okay.
Yes,
Whatever, I'm just,
so it's the increased amount, not the total amount.
Right. right.
Yes, I have the total amount, I don't know the
Well, what's-
increased amount. So total amount for, employees would be $337,534, and then the total amount for the library would be $1.586,569.
so 1.5 million is what the total premium will
Correct.
be. And, okay,
Correct.
And we budgeted 1.9 million in total, so we got enough to cover that plus.
okay.
That answered. Okay. In terms of plane design themselves, recommendations is stay, keep the current plane design. You see the employee contributions both in a monthly dollar amount stated there. And then the corresponding percentages of which employees pay of their total monthly estimated premium. So 18%, 17.5% for employee with spouse, 18% for employee children, and 17.5% for family. Based on utilization metrics, which when you benchmark, keeps the library still in a really good competitive spot. As a cost of as a percentage of the total cost.
So if a family got the insurance at 135, are they completely covered for everything, or is it any? How much coverage does that take?
The deductible is, is it $1,000?
Yeah,
It's $1,000 deductible, for a family. It's a copay plan, so anytime you go to your PCP, it's gonna be, $30, I believe, and then, specialist is 65. But then once they hit the deductible, it's 80/20 in network. Until they hit max out.
very rich competitive plan, which understandably knowing that it's a big part of the full compensation package here too, so by design, but yeah, really competitive.
You should have seen my face when I read it the first.
You came kind of where I came.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had that Gibson, I'd be jumping. To the roof.
Right.
Any questions on the employee contribution section? Okay, and then to wrap up, the rest of the lines of coverage, so dental, vision, life insurance, disability, et cetera, that's what we package in as ancillary lines in the insurance world. So the recommendation, we made this current year, we made a transition to Reliance as the ancillary carrier. We've had a rocky start and continue to have some issues with them. They went through an acquisition and they're starting to pull the levers and merge, and it's just creating undue issues. And so actually the recommendation is to move, we went back out to 12 different carriers. Last year it was between Reliance and Mutual. Mutual of Omaha is one of our steadiest carriers and all of our Gibson clients. Very reputable. We've had the same client manager that would service the library for the last 9 years. Sabrina's her name. She's awesome. So we feel like this is a necessary change and will create a better experience, both from an administrative standpoint and from an employee standpoint when they have to engage in ancillary lines of coverage. So in summary, maintaining all current lines, all current benefit structures, just moving the carrier to Mutual of Omaha. The one change I'll note is on the vision. Today with Reliance, they rent a VSP network. With Mutual of Omaha, we would have to, we would use IMED as the vision network. Again, solid national carrier. So don't anticipate really any, again, more of a lateral move between VSP and IMED. And then on the dental, the only change that's a benefit would be increasing the orthodontia age from 19 to 26. The plan enhancement, today it's at 19, so that's something they threw in there. It is part of the pricing of the benefits making.
One thing I want to add to what Patrick said about moving to the Anthem network, we analyzed. And my it gives it. Where our people are going now. And how many of the doctors that they're and providers that they're seeing now would be covered in the Anthem network. So we went from, it was like 78% were in network of the claims. And those same claims, if they had been in Anthem, it would have been like 95, in the 90 something percentage. So it's a really good move for our staff.
So the benefits, are those extras that people pay for, or is that part of the package?
The life and AD&D, accidental death and dismemberment, all full-time staff get a base package that the library pays, as well as long-term disability. Dental and vision and voluntary life are all paid for by the staff. So that's a voluntary, they choose to take it or not. We do the administration part.
Question?
Not a question, a comment. Thanks for the bailout on the acronym. In fact, this particular sheet, I think, has more acronyms than I've ever seen in one document. But
Loves an acronym.
it's,
I do try to stop myself. The problem is we'd have 2 pages if I spelled them all out.
I know everybody has their own language in
Yeah.
certain areas. And I was here a year before I knew that an MLS wasn't the listing service for real estate. It was, you guys agree.
So for next year, since nobody prints them out anymore, it's all the machine, you can go 3 pages next year.
Yeah, I can spell it all out. for you.
Spell it out.
Glossary of terms.
Yeah, that's right. That is a good idea. Glossary terms.
Glossary works too. But that's gonna take an extra page for the glossary. Might just be easier to spell it out.
Do we need, you don't need recruiters, do we?
Yes.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Any questions for Patrick or for Karen? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
So move the second that we approve the new employee benefits. Or this is starting just.
2025.
2025, January 1st.
Okay. I will call the roll. Nicole?
Aye. It takes a minute to find the button.
Helen?
Yes.
Gary?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
I am.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you. Thank you.
Is there any way board members could get in?
Plan Doc specifically says.
Okay.
No, we have a policy you want us to look at?
So circulation policies are under section 5 of the Public Service Policy Manual. And every year we just look at them to see if there are any updates needed. And under 5.1.3 library card model, each type of card had its registration requirements, and we just consolidated it. So it lists all of the registration requirements and proof of address and then the types of cards, rather than listing it out separately each time. And then under 5.3.5. First, disregard the $2 fee was removed. I was getting ahead of myself. We're gonna look at service charges next year. That's for when you lose your library card. You get a free one the first time in a year, and if you lose it twice in a year, you're charged $2. That will come later. I was jumping ahead, but we would like to remove the sentence that says the patron remains responsible for up to $50 in charges on the account from the first instance of unauthorized activity. Because a while back, we made a change that you can pay what you can on billed items. So it didn't make sense to still say you're responsible for up to 50 when another policy said you could pay what you can.
So is there a stop loss? So if it's a pay what you can, but the other is there's a stop loss of 50.
Yeah,
So pay what you can could mean somebody would pay more than 50
yeah,
if,
very possible. Mhm. Yeah, they could pay the full bill amount or what they feel they can afford.
And under a stolen card, typically. You hear about that when you didn't check out the items because your card was stolen and somebody else used it, so. It doesn't make sense in this section because. Previously $50 then on the stolen material,
And it's a pretty rare thing.
pretty.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does that ever happen?
I've never seen it happen, but
Okay. It's good to have a policy.
yeah.
of course, you don't, if you lose a card, as long as you have, you could have, if you have the
As long
app,
as you know
it's on
your
your
name.
phone, it's in your app, it's on your phone. I mean,
You
my
can also-
library card's on I haven't really actually used it. I haven't
But you
actually,
would know if something was being checked out on your account because you would still
I'd be
like, I
getting
get-
things.
text
Right.
or an email.
I thought there was something in here later about if you notify the library as soon as you notice that it's been lost or stolen, does that, what does that do to this $50? How much you should pay,
That's just coming out of there altogether.
which,
The $50.
The $50 is being removed. So if you look at 5.3.3, lost or stolen library card, the updated policy says the patron is responsible for immediately notifying the library when the card is lost or stolen. The library will place a block on the patron's record to prevent unauthorized activity. Really, what we do is
Issue
change
a
the
new
card
card.
number
Yeah.
and issue a new card. So it just is really not relevant anymore, so it's been pulled.
Any other questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So,
I have a motion and a second.
Second,
So moved and second that we approve the new circulation policy update. I will call the roll. Christine,
aye.
Ann,
I,
Nicole,
Aye.
Gary,
aye.
and Alan.
Hi,
I vote aye. Approved. Okay. Resolution to transfer between funds. Madam Treasurer.
Yeah, so, at certain times during the year, hopefully more so at the end of the year, we have a few transfers that we need to, move some dollars around, in the appropriation lines. And so we have 3 transfers we're asking for, one for $25,000, to move to our, other services and charges, other software services. $35,000 to move to the electrical services. And that's because of, Francis and those bills went up a tad bit, over the last few weeks. And then, same thing with water, moving, $20,000 to water. So just, to make sure that we have enough in those fund lines, for the rest of it.
Questions on Jeanette? I will entertain a motion for approval.
so moved.
Have a second.
second,
So moved and probably second that we approve the resolution to transfer funds. I will call the roll. I'll start with Ann,
I,
Christine,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Alan,
Hi,
Nicole.
Aye.
I vote aye. Uh, award the contract, award the bid renovation.
Yes, so last week, the bids were due for the renovation at Center. We had 4 companies bid on that project. Majority builders came in low. We did choose to deduct 2 alternates, the 2x2 light fixtures. It's the difference between a curved LED light fixture, which disperses the light a little bit better than a flat one. So we're gonna go ahead with a flat one to deduct that 17,000. And then, let's slide it over. What was the other one? Oh, code lighting, deduction of 7,600, and that's in the tray ceiling up there at Center. We'll just leave what's there. So that even with those deductions, majority builders is our lowest responsive bidder. So my recommendation, as is MCAM's, is that we award that bid to majority builders for $1,367,708.
Okay.
How does that compare with what we thought it might be?
It's a little bit higher than what we thought, where we thought it would come in, but not so much that Jeanette's put off by it.
$200,000 in the scheme of things.
$200,000 more than we thought.
Yeah, done in the scheme of things, that's $20. In your pockets. It's not that. We can-
So how many, I'm just curious, how many, I see 4 bids.
Yep.
How many did you send it out to?
Did it go out? Lisa sent it out to some locals, which is probably where majority did it, but there are sites where all public bid projects go that architects post them out there, so that's where it was posted.
All right, we gotta spend some money. Okay. Any questions? Mr. Wallace, right? So a motion to approve the award of the bid to majority builders.
So moved. Second.
And I got it first. Let's move to second that we award the contract for the second grant renovations to majority builders. I take the vote. I will start with Nicole. Participate on
Aye.
this year. Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
and
Aye.
I vote aye. Okay, write the check.
I'll be ready.
No checks will be written until work is done,
Yes.
just to be clear.
All right, thank you. And, so this is, the bid has not been approved, the award, so they will then come back to you guys with dates to start.
Estimated start date for them is December 1st. Yeah, so we thought it would be around then, so that's this next piece here,
Next item on the agenda.
next item, agenda.
I see, Lisa.
We are requesting to close Center Branch for upcoming renovations starting on November 24th. With the option to delay the closing start date if needed. Construction work should start in early December. So closing on November 24th will give us enough time to prepare. But if the contractors do decide to delay construction, we would like the option to delay the closing date so that there's a minimal amount of time that we are closed before construction starts. And then we will reopen after the completion of renovations, which MKM estimates to be 6 to 8 months after construction begins.
And the contractor said 180 days, which is 6 months, so 6 to 8 months is a good.
How do we notify the public of the closing?
Sure, so, there are already, the, renderings are already down at Center for people to see. Staff have started saying we will be closing for the renovations. Once you approve this date, they'll start giving that date. And then our communications team has an email ready to go out to anyone whose home location is Center to explain what's happening Staff will start asking people where do they want their holds to go. They know who their super users are for the holds. They'll start talking to those people and everybody who walks in the doors. But that will be a targeted email, and then I'm sure there's some Facebook marketing and Instagram and the social media stuff. And in our regular newsletter too, so.
Sign.
The
sign in the.
Oh, well, they have an outdoor electronic
they have an
sign
electronic
that will
sign.
get I mean, that won't be up there forever, but
Right,
that,
but while it's up. they
but
can
while
put
it's up, yeah.
closing on.
So all, as many different ways as we can tell people, we are telling people. Starting tomorrow.
A great news story.
There is a press release also ready to go.
And lucky several thousand people are voting there.
Okay, we have a proposal from Lisa to close the center branch for renovation. Starting, we hope, November 24th before Thanksgiving. So, we have a motion to approve,
So moved.
and a second.
I'll second.
And move a second that we approve the closing of the center branch for renovations beginning, we hope on November 24th, if not 2 days later. I will call the roll. I'll start with Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
I,
Christine,
Aye.
Nicole.
Aye.
Okay. November 24th, very good. Heidi, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna hold my phone, because I'm gonna set a timer, because I'm not good at being brief.
Oh, okay.
It's just kind of a reminder, Stephanie, is it weird if I stand here?
Yep, I will.
You don't have to move, but that makes it less weird. Hi, I'm Heidi Levitt. I'm the Youth Services Manager here at SJCPL. I've been here for 9 months now. I know, right? Isn't it exciting? And I'm so excited to meet all of you. I had a really good relationship with my last board of directors, and in my experience, you're all rock stars. So, yeah. I am going to talk about our picture book project. There it is. Let's start my timer. I'm not kidding. I'm really gonna look at this every now and again. I'm not sure how much you know. Okay, cool. So we are reorganizing the picture books in youth services, and eventually system-wide to basically be organized how children would look for books. So currently they're organized by author, A through Z. I don't know how many 3 to 5-year-olds you know, but they don't come into the library asking, please point me towards Eric Carle. Just doesn't happen. You know, as librarians, we're very good at organizing books, but for many, many years, in many places, we've organized them so adults can find them. That doesn't make sense for picture books. So we are going to reorganize them, like I said, how children would look for them. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. There's been a lot of steps to this process. Lisa's done a ton. We've worked with collection services. A lot of research went into it even before anything was done here. I know I sat in on a few Zoom calls with librarians, you know, across the country that have done this, that have reorganized. Yes.
I'm sorry, but this is gonna be a really basic question. What is a picture book as compared to other books?
Oh my goodness, yeah. So this is a
So a
picture
picture
book.
book is what?
I'm so glad I brought an example. So picture books are usually, some of them are a little older, but they're geared towards.
Got it.
Gosh. They're your typical read alouds, story time books.
Okay,
I wanna say babies, but like, I would read it aloud to a baby, but I wouldn't hand it to a baby. Board books are what we hand to a baby. I feel like I should have bought like probably one of, anyway, yeah.
okay,
So picture books, they're all about the pictures,
okay,
usually, just a couple rows of text on each page.
got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there's such a huge variety. So yeah, so like I was saying, there's a ton of research gone into it. Before we even started planning how we would do it, lots of discussion. It was important for
me, and I think for the rest of the team as well, to choose a list of categories to separate our picture books in that made sense to SJCPL. What these other libraries have done is they've chosen 10 to 20 categories. We'll say dinosaurs, princesses, trucks, you know, things that might be popular with their community. But as we know, not all communities are the same. I wanted to know what our patrons were asking for. I'm not going to copy and paste a list of categories from Seattle, Washington to us, because that may not be what our patrons are looking for. At that time, I had only worked here a couple months, so I didn't know what our patrons were asking for. So I went to the experts, so the youth services folks in my department, and I asked them to send me what do you get asked for the most? For me, since I've been at SJCPL, have been unicorns. I want books on unicorns, and I have to go to 10 different places to find them a stack of unicorn books. Because not just one author writes unicorn books, right? So I had them all send me their lists of what they thought, you know, send me 10. I took those category lists, kind of combined them with mine, and then looked at the research for what other libraries were calling some of these lists. And yeah, we came up with, I think we originally came up with 20. Azari, can you go to the next slide? I'm not very good at, yep, and you know, I'm not gonna go in order. But we came up with 20 categories that then got condensed into 13 after discussions with collection services and Lisa. I kind of already talked about why I really like this quote from Holly Hadley. She's a school librarian. She says successful systems have clear logic and the different pieces are connected in ways that make sense to the people who are using the system. And that's the whole point here. It has to make sense to the kids. It doesn't have to make sense to us. I mean, it's helpful. But I mean, we need to realize these are the people that are looking for the books. So yeah, and just, I've said all of this, but reorganizing it in a way that makes sense for that age group. This area, thank you. This is what I was talking about. These are steps, some of the steps, but there's also like these mini steps in between. Like I said, trying to be brief. I've already been 5 minutes. Sorry, it's going to be longer. So we generated a list of categories. We talked about them a lot. And then Dave just started pulling lists of books that came up when we searched the subject headings that would fall into that category. Right now, the stage we're in right now is we're going through title by title, list by list, making sure those titles belong in that category. We're getting faster at it, but it's a big job. I think the growing up category, we had to start with the biggest list first, had almost 2,000 titles in it. So my team, whenever we're at the desk or doing something that we can just do busy work, we're going through title by title and checking to make sure they fit. If they don't, we put whatever subject we think they would fit in. Once we're through all of these lists, ideally, I think there's gonna be a step in between, but that'll make me go even longer than I already am. But ideally, we'll print these spine labels. And instead of putting them here, we're going, because these picture books are in bins, we're going to put them up here. So that when they're sifting through, you can see the spine label. It's amazing, brilliant. I'm excited. The old picture books, we're gonna keep them down here, you know, for nostalgia, I don't know. But anything new that's ordered, we'll be putting the sticker up top because our picture books are in bins. Stickering and sorting, hopefully we will use center staff, since their building is closed, we can use them to help us, because that's going to be a big project. And then eventually, once all the drawers are categorized by within these category headings, we'll have new signage. I would like to have pictures of what they are too, because, you know, these kids they're not reading. Kind of. Zara can do that, thank you. And then this this shows you the categories we have. These two little ghosty categories down here, so I keep saying we have 13 categories, really, it's 15. But these two already, kind of, holiday already exists. And stories will be all of the books that don't fit into any of these categories, or as we're finding, there are some that fit 5 of them. And then also the hierarchy, there is a hierarchy to categorization. Favorite characters is gonna come first. So say Curious George goes to the zoo on Christmas, that's not a book. But favorite characters is going to come first, because a real big Curious George lover doesn't care what Curious George is doing. He just cares that Curious George is in the book. So I think we're also gonna up a lot of our holiday book circulation by pulling those favorite characters and having a favorite characters category. We put holiday, tough topics, and growing up in the second tier, everything except above and below. I know it's incredibly technical. We'll go and then stories is everything else. So, yes,
I have a question.
yes.
Adults, do look for books and like especially early childhood teachers and so
Yes.
forth. Will there be like a cross-reference? Because maybe a teacher does want to use a Curious George at the zoo or in a holiday.
So
So how will that?
sure, so when you look up a book title in our catalog, it'll tell you which category it's in. Does that make sense? So, you can go to that category. I'm not sure yet if we're gonna do subcategory, within those categories, we haven't gotten that
That's
far
fine,
yet.
and we'll still have the author last name.
Yes,
But it won't be organized like that.
No,
Oh, but they'll tell you what.
the catalog will say holidays.
I wish I had those
Isn't that curious?
samples that Dave printed out. It will, yeah, it will.
H.A. Ray, so it'll say favorite character, H.A. Ray, so it'll still be by author last name.
Yes.
So how then, or will it be organized within the category? Like favorite characters?
Sure,
How
sure.
would that be organized?
I believe by author. Yep. That's what we're thinking right now, yeah.
And this is mostly nonfiction or fiction? When you say stories, does that mean?
They're all picture books, so we don't have to worry about the other collections, like. the
No, I know,
TV.
but there are picture books that are nonfiction, picture books that are.
This is for the collection that is currently categorized as picture books.
Yeah,
And then,
It doesn't matter what the topic is. It could be a story or it could be a book about trucks or.
sure, right now they're all. Cause I do know what you're saying, there's some very early level nonfiction.
yes.
And so this project right now is just for those students that are categorized picture books, which you're thinking are typically. Well, there might be, like, there's some weather, like.
There's,
stuff
yeah,
that-
so like our concept
You
books.
have science,
Yeah.
Yeah, so our like science and nature category, it has a lot of like the weather and the seasons. And then,
Your things that go might have, like your dump truck books that are more nonfiction.
yeah, and the math book, those will go in growing up, so ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. One of the concept books will go growing up, actually.
I have one more question.
Yes.
So it sounds like every library system across the country, if they're doing this, are gonna have different categories. Cause you're wanting to individualize for here, but then you don't have.
Yes, and every library is different. Every library that we researched has a different set of categories. There's a lot of crossover. I mean, trucks are trucks, things that go is a big category. Animals is usually pretty big. But yeah, I mean, depending on where you live, kids are gonna ask for different things. Yeah, they're gonna be different in each space.
This follows with the fiction versus nonfiction. A favorite character could be George Washington, or could it be, or a famous person?
No, favorite characters are
Oh.
like, are like Pete the Cat, Curious George, like,
Picture book favorite.
yes.
Okay, well, I was just
In a story.
thinking, yes, well, I was thinking of,
Yeah.
might be Harriet Pittman, might be
Yeah,
a
they
picture
do.
book.
They
But
do that.
We have biographies, I mean, like, I think those will all be in in nonfiction, if they are in
Okay.
picture book, if it is about, and there are picture books
There are a bunch of.
that are
frustrating
about, yeah,
and
and that'll probably go in stories.
Okay.
topic.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
we are putting like social justice nods to social justice, if they don't get super deep in picture books. We're
Interesting.
putting those in community. So a lot of these categories are kind of widespread. Once we go through and categorize everything, I have a feeling some of the categories may need to, just seeing how massive some of these categories are getting. And how small dinosaurs is actually as a section, which is ridiculous, but there's not a lot of dinosaur books about dinosaurs being dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are potty training and dinosaurs are learning about science and like, so a lot of the dinosaur books are going in. Because that's not the main thrust of the story. So there's that too. Dinosaurs walking around and acting like people, I mean, they're usually doing something other than being dinosaurs, so. Yeah, it's tricky.
I am curious, I'm sorry, I'll stop talking a minute, but it's such a massive.
Yes. Yes, yes.
I mean, if you're trying to think of a child, a 4-year-old coming in and wanting to, use the system, I'm just wondering, do they know? Would they ask for community? Would they ask for growing up?
Probably not. Good question. That is a good question. That is a good question.
The other ones,
The other ones make more.
yeah, we also wouldn't ask for tough topics for
And they wouldn't.
us, that's a really. Those are so hard to find for parents when they're dealing with those situations, that to me, that category makes sense for adults and staff. So you primary audience, kids, but also parents.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting, tough topics, I can see you organizing by the topic.
I don't think there's gonna be that many books
Yeah,
in tough
It'll be
topics.
interesting, as opposed to author within the topic, you can see, if it's a divorce book or a death book, you can see you putting the death or
Always
divorce
be-
book. But that's you guys, I'm not gonna try to micromanage how your system. works.
That's the thing, I think we've had to really, cause yeah, like, think about how many rabbit holes you can go down, right? We've had to like really put blinders on and be like,
Okay.
this is
Good
what we're
luck.
doing
Good
right now, don't think of anything else. And then that's why we're doing it faint first and not system wide, we're gonna work out all the kinks. But no, I mean, absolutely.
Good
Sounds
luck.
like a great idea, I mean, very
Yes.
good.
Yeah, have fun.
Absolutely, yeah, so. Azalea, do I have any more slides? Oh, yeah. Oh. I need over 5 minutes, absolutely.
Thank you.
When do you think this will all be in place? Is it?
Another excellent question.
I suspect it's another thing that they will get faster at doing as they go. But we really are dedicating some of center staff to this project, so it will go faster since center will be closed. Lisa, did you estimate time?
It's hard to say,
What was your estimate for Maine?
for me.
You can say it, Lisa.
Go ahead and say, you had it somewhere.
It just depends on, how many staff in the day, so I mean, I think a few weeks on Maine. And then the branch, then we'll go location to location, but all the locations will have small sections. So it'll just get faster as we go.
Okay, you're not talking about a year from now.
No, not at all, not at all.
No, the hard work has already been done. Yeah.
Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Really good. Next one.
So one question before we adjourn, on the agenda for, the bottom of the agenda, we always put the next meetings, and do we know yet when, I noticed that the January meeting is kind of blank on it, is that gonna be the fourth week in January?
Oh,
Or do-
I
or
don't
do we
intend
wait?
it. Do you guys wanna change? If you don't wanna change, we'll just rinse and repeat. And we just need to check it against some holidays.
We don't have to yet, I mean, I just wondering if you're on New Year.
That's the third Monday.
MLK is the 3rd,
Okay.
and then 27th is the last Monday.
Yeah, so I would expect the meetings to stay fourth Monday. at 4:15. We
Okay, but you'll
we do
decide for
usually
sure.
check that against a couple of holidays where we
Okay,
sometimes
we'll
run
wait.
into
We
tricky
can wait, yeah.
spots. So we'll do that and we can bring those, I think I usually bring that in November,
Okay, no worries.
so
I just saw it.
good question.
We have no other business to have a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.
It's been moving, second that we adjourn the meeting, we'll meet again November 25th at 4:15 upstairs. Yes, I'm done. All in favor?
Aye.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Yeah.